Welcome to Race to Zero, our series of interviews discovering the world of Hitachi. Today we are joined by Andy Barr, Group CEO at Hitachi Rail. Andy, thank you for being with us today.
Good to see you. Thank you.
So, first of all, trains relying on alternative power sources, such as battery trains, will revolutionize the train industries in the years to come, allowing journeys in new, non-electrified routes. Hitachi Rail is at the forefront of such technology. Can you tell us how you are leading the industry into a decarbonized future and why battery-powered trains are so important in the fight against climate change?
Batteries are, of course, very important, and I'll talk about that shortly. But if you look at our overall decarbonisation strategy, rail is already a very green mode of transport, and I believe that we can achieve modal shift by mobility as a service, as well as getting people out of their planes and their cars and onto public transport by making it a credible alternative. So, as you say, we need to decarbonise rail. Batteries are very important because they are the fastest way to get there quickly. We've also worked on decarbonising our own business. So we've managed to reduce our CO2 equivalent emissions by 14% per hour in the last year. And we've planned to get to net zero by 2030. But on batteries themselves, we are already innovating and we're collaborating on this new world with batteries being fitted to intercity trains as well as regional trains and moving rail away from diesel. So this is one of the key ways that we can become a climate innovator. We already have over 5 years experience of running battery trains in Japan, and we have a UK partnership with Hyperdrive, manufacturer of batteries, along with Eversholt, the owner of some of our trains that we built. And we have our tram in Florence, which is now running with battery power on the street. So already battery is at the forefront of our offering in our products, and we believe this will be extremely important over the next few years. Ultimately, of course, having trains running on electrified lines would be our target, but I do think that having trains equipped with batteries are a way to generate the growth quickly on those routes, to enable us to make a business case to run longer electrically powered trains on routes that previously would have been run with older diesel-powered trains. So it's quite an exciting time for our business overall.
What about hydrogen? The use of hydrogen-powered trains on a mass scale is still some decades away, but there is a lot of excitement and hope surrounding this new meaning of propulsion. What is your stance on this technology?
Hydrogen will definitely have a place to play in the long run. And already in Japan, we are partnering with Toyota to run our Barr project, which will launch in the next year or so. It's very exciting technology. It's an area that we're very keen to exploit, but it's one that enables us to test the viability of this in the long run. If you compare batteries and hydrogen today, hydrogen isn't really competing at the moment. And this is simply because batteries have a 20% higher carbon efficiency and a 30 to 50% lower cost than hydrogen. It's also worth remembering that there are a number of challenges with hydrogen, so it's going to take some time to get over those to make sure that we get it right. First of all, of course, only 1% of all hydrogen manufactured currently uses renewable energy. Most is actually generated using fossil fuels. It also needs to be fast. And we need to be able to scale this up for our projects. And you need the infrastructure and the ecosystem to support that. This means, in particular, specialised fueling stations, which are expensive and also need special measures to manage them at each end of the route where we have maintenance depots. Of course, we need to remember that hydrogen trains, along with other trains, have a typically 30 to 40-year life. So we also need to make sure we can maximise the opportunity to retrofit in the meantime those diesel trains which are currently running. So really, taking time to roll out those hydrogens in scale will be quite a big long-term challenge, which will take us well into the 2060s. And in particular, once that time has passed, it could be that battery technology has moved on and is equally as comparable to hydrogen. Key benefit of hydrogen, of course, is that it can be refueled quickly, just like you can now, the fossil-fueled vehicle. However, there are these other challenges that I mentioned, where batteries, the technology is continuing to advance and already offers a comparable power output and benefits to that that's currently enjoyed by fossil-fueled trains.
And 2 years ago, Hitachi Rail completed the acquisition of the Italian transportation company Ansaldo STS. How this takeover help you to diversify and become a full-service provider for railways, becoming a one-stop shop for transport projects?
Becoming a full-service provider is the ultimate goal for our business, in particular when you look at the capability to then move into the mobility as a service space. So acquisition of STS enabled us to diversify our business and to bring into that signalling technology, as well as the building of railways through our turnkey business. So we already have now within our portfolio some of the most innovative railways around the world. We've managed to integrate that company into the wider Hitachi Rail Group. So we now have an integrated approach which offers bespoke solutions from building of the infrastructure through to signalling and control, all of which is designed by our experienced engineers. We have cutting-edge technology in our automated transport systems, which are designed to maximize the whole life cost. And of course, being automated means they can be very closely controlled without the need for additional staff members, in particular the driver. And we can manage the operation much closer to the way that the operator would want to be, and to actually be responsive to changes in demand. So we've already got significant projects within our portfolio, including automated railways in Copenhagen, in Riyadh, Princess Noor University, Genova, Taipei Circular Line, Honolulu, and Milan Line 4, along with new projects coming up in places like Lima. So providing those innovative solutions across the wide range of services through building of the rolling stock, providing the control systems and the building of the networks, and integrating that with signalling and control, and then into full operation, service and maintenance, where we actually run the railway, means that we have a unique offering in the marketplace and puts us in a good position to be able to strongly support our customers as we move into these new areas with these exciting new technologies. And we also investigate adjacencies to what we do.
You mentioned it, Hitachi Rails has projects all over the world. How do you ensure that the company's values, level of innovation and commitment remain untarnished, regardless of the ground on which you are operating?
So we're a very big company. We are present in 38 countries around the world. We have 11 manufacturing sites on 3 continents. So our 12,000 employees already embody the Hitachi values of harmony, sincerity, and pioneering spirit in everything they do. These values are important because actually they are expressing the idea of translating our thoughts into actions. And that's how we drive our business. Our purpose is to contribute to society through the development of superior original technology and products that power sustainable connectivity. So we take pride in everything that we do, putting our projects at the forefront with the high standards that we've managed to achieve, and using those values to work extremely closely with our customers as well, to make sure that we can continue to be a trusted provider for the future, building on the heritage that we already have from the past.
The pandemic has changed the common perception of train travel. People are now more reluctant to board cramped trains or subways, and they demand more physical space, heightened hygienic condition. How are you facing these changes that are challenging the transportation industry?
The pandemic has taught us a number of things that go from strong business continuity to increasing the resilience of a company to be able to react to some of these unprecedented events. But I think above all, it's taught us that it's quite difficult to predict future events. If you look at transportation, it's a fundamental part of every community, every city, and every country. So really, we need to make sure that the transportation offers a credible alternative, and the enhancements that we bring allow stronger connectivity in major cities to get those benefits on a wider level. And I think important to that really is encouraging people onto rail away from their existing modes of transport, particularly in cities such as personal transport and cars, scooters, etc., but also away from air travel, because we now know that this is a very important way that we can reduce overall carbon consumption. So to make this credible, keeping the costs down, making it attractive, and helping the operator to optimize their operations is really important. And I think that if we can get that right, people will start to move across onto rail and ultimately into public transport in major cities, because they see the attractiveness of it. So from a sustainability point of view, making it have as low a carbon footprint as possible is a really key part of that, to ensure that we can make our cities less polluted, but also integrating the public transport into that will change people's lives and their journey habits. If there's one other major lesson to learn from the pandemic, it is that we think in the future people's travel habits will change and be quite different. We need to be ready for that. I think the demand will still be there, although it will be on a different way and at different times. But clearly making that transportation attractive, clean, and ultimately sustainable is an extremely important part of that.
When you think about the future of mobility, what do you envision? Cars have never gone away despite the rise of alternative means of transportation. How can we reduce traffic congestions and free up our cities?
So I think, as I've already said, we believe that the future of mobility will be defined by what we call sustainable connectivity. So solutions that have the lowest environmental footprint, but offer the greatest convenience to passenger, will be really important. So as a business, we are investing in innovation so that we can provide solutions to meet these mega trends. And these include things like obviously focusing on sustainability, autonomous vehicles. Digitalization is really key to this, and ultimately meeting the goals of urbanization. The customer experience needs to be right so that it's seen as an attractive and credible alternative to fossil fuel transportation and personal transportation, to get that customer satisfaction, to make it absolutely attractive. So alongside all of this, we're investing in data capabilities so that we can manage people's journeys end to end, and ultimately enable the operators to improve their operational efficiency, so that we can maintain that customer experience, give good information in real time on journeys, and make the journeys themselves demand responsive, so we can have the correct levels of trains available, particularly for things like events where it's unusual numbers of people in one location. So getting that technology right through our own investment in innovation is really important. Ultimately, we are investing for the future in digital innovation with products on our IoT platform, Lamada, and working with Global Logic, a company that's recently joined the Hitachi group, to make sure we can bring these new concepts into our own company and maximize the opportunity to make these fit with our ultimate goals, mean that we can then focus on meeting the demands of the future in cities for sustainable public transport.
Andy Barr, Group CEO at Hitachi Rail, thank you so much for this insightful conversation. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So this is it for Race to Zero, our series of interviews discovering the world of Hitachi. We will continue with other interviews in the following weeks. Do stay with us. Goodbye.